Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight for the powerlifting preseason webinar. On the call tonight is myself, the sport lead for powerlifting. Derek Willis, I believe, is going to join us in a little bit here. He's our powerlifting director, and he is my go-to person throughout the season for answering questions related to the sport, also helping develop our state competitions to be the best it can be. Steve Bennett was going to join us, but is currently recovering from kayaking time trials that occurred this past weekend. So taking some well-deserved rest there while he can here. So let's jump into the agenda for tonight. Welcome again. Good to see everybody. Before you try to jot everything down, just know that this webinar will be sent out tomorrow morning, both the recording and the slide deck. So you will see some links as we go through here that are all live. But the deck will be sent as a PDF. So any links that you see do work, and they will be sent separately from the deck. So you can easily access those. So feel free to drop any questions you have in chat or unmute yourself after we go through a slide if you would like to. We're not packed full of content tonight. We pretty much cover the basics and then also allow plenty of time to answer questions. So feel free to unmute yourself politely here, and we'll definitely address any questions that you have. Moving forward here, we'll talk about the deadlines that we have for the season, talk about what qualifies to have your athletes attend the state championship. We'll go over the events for powerlifting, which I believe has the least amount of events out of any sport. So hopefully you know what those events are, the coaches training for this season, and then we'll go over some rules and updates just as reminders. Nothing has dramatically changed for this year, but they're good to keep in the front of your head there. And again, we will conclude with a Q&A and answer any question that we can. If we cannot, I will follow up with you directly and or Derek and get you set there. At the end of the slide deck, which we will click through as we're doing our closing remarks here, will be a bunch of forms and paperwork that may be beneficial to you throughout the season if you're looking for what does an athlete medical look like. There's protest forms included in there, a bunch of different documents that you can use as a reference that are located on this deck, but also on the coach's resource page that we'll talk about here shortly also. So jumping into the powerlifting sport management team, Jim Downs is a coach for Montgomery County. Kathy Barrett is a coach for Howard County. Kenny Long, athlete from Howard. Derek Willis, we talked about, is our powerlifting director, and then myself, the SMB sports lead for the sport of powerlifting. So I always like to recognize those individuals that play a big part throughout the season. So as a reminder, no athlete or volunteer may participate at any time without having the proper certifications in. So medical, CDW for athletes, volunteer applications, etc. And we will jump into what that looks like for each individual here on the coming slides, but there are no exceptions to this policy. So as always, please work with your area leadership. We talked about having our proper forms in. Please keep in mind that they then have to get those forms to us in a timely manner. So as you're going through and checking where your athletes stand with their paperwork, please keep in mind that your area leadership then needs time to get them to us. So whatever date that we kind of inform you of, try to think a week or two in advance just to be respectful for all the individuals involved with this. So what is required for each participant? So athletes, you need their athlete medical in along with their CDW, which is a communicable disease waiver, unified partners, and general volunteers. So this is where we start to branch out here, and it's the basics as we move forward. They will need their volunteer application along with their protected behaviors. Everybody, as we talk about here, will need their CDW, so we won't talk about that anymore. Everything that we mentioned here is on the coach's resource page. There's a made page with all these certifications listed out where you can literally click the link and it'll walk you right through it. So please access that page. If you're confused, again, that will be dropped both in the chat box here by the end, so you can click it and pull it up on your computer so you don't lose it if you like. Moving forward here, sport volunteers. So that's where we have many of our volunteers. So that's a volunteer background screening, protected behaviors, and concussion. Moving from there to an assistant coach, all we're doing is adding the sport-specific course. So many of you, for powerlifting, for an example, were attended the coaches training that Derek led last year at that gym. So that keeps you good for the following 3 years. So that is how long your coach's certification is good for. Moving to head coach. So you see the difference on that screen. There's an assistant coach sport certification and then a head coach sport certification. So the other part that gets you to that head coach sport certification is to complete CSOA, which is coaching Special Olympics athletes. So a few times a year, we offer that in person. That is also available online to take at your convenience. I would encourage you to take that in person if you can. Mike Starnowski does a phenomenal job along with a few other presenters on putting that on. It is a half a day course or so, but I'm telling you, it is very, very beneficial. So again, to get to a head coach certification, you will need to take CSOA. There is one exception to that.
Brian,
yes.
Excuse me for, I'm sorry. You actually, I think you misstated that there. The first thing that coaches need to take is the CSOA. That gets them the assistant coach certification. Then the sport, taking this thing on the particular sport, gets them the sport certification as a head coach. So
correct. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so moving on to this next page here. Only people who have met all those requirements will be considered a coach. This includes up-to-date sports certification, as we talked about. The one exception to that is, which does not apply to the sport of powerlifting, but we just wanted to include it. If you're only coaching unified sports instead of CSOA, you are allowed to take coaching unified sports. So just be aware of that. Any coach who has not gotten their certification to the head coach will be considered an assistant coach for their credentials. If you are wondering where you stand, each Friday was recently on August 11th updated, is on that link below. When I send that out, you can click that and it'll show you exactly where you stand with your certification. If for some reason you cannot find your name or would like me to do a direct search for you, I'll be more than happy to do so also. Okay. So for deadlines, for Fall Fest and soccer, soccer is slightly different, but we're going to talk about Fall Fest here. The training registration deadline will be August 29th. So coming up, that's when your roster needs to be entered in GMS with everybody from your delegation. So that's obviously your athletes, unified partners, coaches, volunteers, etc. So anybody submitted after that date may participate in training, but they will not be eligible for the state championship. The last date for missing forms is September 11th. So that's when all those certifications or paperwork that we just talked about needs to be into us. And again, please give your area leadership 1 to 2 weeks more so they have time to get that in. The competition registration deadline, that's when your delegation members and their rosters must be entered in GMS. So that'll include what events they will be participating in at the state competition. So anybody who does not get those in by October 10th, or October 3rd, my apologies, will not be eligible for the state competition. So please just jot those dates down. If you don't jot anything else down, and if I can assist you with any of that, please just let me know. So the powerlifting events, there are 3 in total. So we have the bench press, deadlift, and then the combination. So an athlete is required to complete both the bench and the deadlift to compete in the combination. So that is sometimes misunderstood. They need to have 1 successful lift in each of those to be able to move to the combination. And obviously we have many experienced coaches on here. Getting that first lift is very important, done correctly. And then from there, we can kind of push it. So just wanted to have that reminder there. So for qualifying competitions, what is the point of a qualifying competition? You are welcome to put it in chat, unmute. Just want to go over a few different reasons for having them. I know there's ideas. All right, we're quiet or we're eating. So we want our athletes to be competing around others prior to just coming to the state championship. That will help them train better, also see what other athletes are doing. And we want the state championship to not be that first time that they're competing with others. So we want our qualifying opportunities to be or emulate a state competition. Okay. We want our athletes to train, but also as coaches, I think it's beneficial to see how your athletes compete when they see their other fellow athletes in other counties competing, and it may push them a little bit farther too, which gives you more accuracy on what weight you may be wanting to push them to this year. So again, so as we talk about qualifying competitions, they must follow the rules of Special Olympics and the national governing body, which is the International the power might go out here. Cool.
Hi, folks. It looks like Ryan may have lost his connection. So Ryan, are you on the phone? Okay. So I'll see what I can go for. So with the qualifying competition, so again, the entire purpose behind it, in addition to adding more to the season, is to make sure that the athletes have that experience and know what to expect when they do go to the state championships, as most, if not all, will be moving on to that. Recognizing as well that, and let me share my screen because his just stopped sharing. Okay. Sorry, folks. And there we go. Hopefully you can see that. But again, it's for powerlifting, we recognize that it's not something where you're going to have, like with soccer or basketball, you might have 5 or more competitions if you're able to in the season. Powerlifting, I think the standard is typically just one, which is understandable given the nature of the sport. And so that's why we have that as the requirement going forward. Let's see. So here, the page 10. Sorry. So again, qualifying for the state tournament, just meeting all the registration deadlines that Ryan listed a moment ago, and have competing at least again one sanctioned competition. And again, with powerlifting, again, given the nature of the sport, that's why we only have one. And Ryan, are you back on the phone? Does not.
I am here, Mike. Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. So I am now showing the slide that has the label sanctioned qualifying events with the Labor's CrossFit.
I got it. I'm going to do the best I can here. Thank you, Mike, for covering there.
Sure.
So currently I received a sanction form from Howard County a few days ago. That's going to be on September 16th. That is open to other counties. Obviously, when we have qualifiers, that's semi-dependent on the space that we have within a gym or that we're able to access. We're really thrilled at Howard getting their qualifier in here to start us off. That's going to be a 12 Labor's CrossFit in Columbia. I believe that's the same location they had in the past. I could be wrong, but happy to get our first one in here. Please continue to do the best you can to set up a qualifier that will include other counties. Again, I know space can somewhat be an issue. There is a blank sanction form on the coach's resource page, and I will send that over email also tomorrow. So when you are interested in attending one of these qualifiers, there is an email listed on that sanction form. So, oh, it's a new location. Thank you, Kathy. So please email whatever emails or on that sanction form and inform that county that you're interested in attending. Obviously, we will max out at a certain point. So please get your request over to that host county in a timely manner there. Is there any other counties, before we move on here, Mike, is there any other counties that are aware at this time of a qualifier that you may be able to host? I know we're only a few weeks in for some of these counties, but even if you have a date in mind, it could be helpful for planning for others. No is an okay answer. All right, just once you're aware of that, please shoot that over to me and we'll get it on the books. The powerlifting pre-competition webinar will be October 6th from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. That's when we'll be going over all the details related to the state championship. Obviously, we touch on a few related to the state championship here as we go on to the next few slides, but the reasoning for that is mainly so you can think about those through your training season as we get prepared for the state competition. The state competition is not the whole season. We need our athletes to train, enjoy that season, and then we have a culminating event at the end for those who qualify. So again, this will be sent out as a go ahead, Mike.
No, it's Tina.
Yes, Tina.
Wednesday, it's October 4th. Friday is October 6th. So at least yeah.
I got you. Okay.
Okay. So
thank you for saying something.
Not a problem.
All right, go ahead, Mike. The coaches training, Derek and I are still trying to set the location and date. We do believe it'll be the same location as last year, but I don't want to state even what that is until we get the final notice on that. There will not be a limit on how many coaches can attend that. And if you are available, I would highly encourage you to do so. Derek does a lot of allowing coaches to do hands-on training with that, has a great plan that's realistic for 1 or 2 days of training for each county. That also is something that we send out post-training to those who aren't able to be in attendance, though that will not count towards your certification, but it is a training program that is accessible to everybody as we move on here. So that will be very beneficial. Fall Sports Fest is our state competition for powerlifting back at the Mount, Saturday, October 21st. That day runs roughly 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Arriving obviously a little bit before 8 a.m. And I like to put 4:30 just to play it safe, but we have been able to shorten that day the last few years. So really excited there. Please remember that all your submissions need to be in kilograms. So that is very, very important. Especially morning of when you're giving me those starting lifts and everything, that will determine how that day goes. So again, kilograms, we do not say pounds around here, okay? We will have USAPL officials. We've had one new one the last 2 years, and we are going to have at least 1 or 2 new ones this year. So we finally have a stage full of USAPL officials and really proud as we're moving in that direction as we should be. So there will be more details to come. If you have any new coaches, please let me know who they are along with their email address so they can be looped into all this so we're not playing the telephone game and we can all be on the same track. All right, so some rule reminders here. All athletes must be at least 16 years old to participate in powerlifting. Chalk is permitted on the hands. That's the only place that can be. Only athlete and 1 coach may be permitted on the lifting stage. The officials will be up there. There's 3. Lifters have 1 minute to initiate a lift. If there is a physical disability, please note that in advance. We can work with you on that time number. That's with any out of the ordinary abilities. Please inform me of that so we can inform our officials. They need to see in advance and we can talk to you in advance if we need blocks under the athlete's feet, or if an athlete cannot extend their arm completely in the bench and that's a physical obstacle there. If we are notified in advance, we can work with them and we can get on the same page of what will count as a lift. So please notify me of that so that can be placed in GMS. If the weights are dropped intentionally, it will be declared a no lift and the lifter may be DQ'd. So I know that it's fun to get pumped up, but please remind your athletes of that in the gym, that they cannot be dropping weights or they may be DQ'd. All right, I'm flipping through so I can see this on the big screen also. Lifting suit. The uniform requirements, one piece to that is the lifting suit. I know there was a county getting new uniforms this year and Derek was able to help them confirm that what they were requesting was appropriate, both with the logos along with the dimensions of that. So if you're concerned regarding the lifting suit and that fits the requirements, please let me know and Derek will review that and get you an answer. An undershirt is required along with briefs, footgear, socks. The socks need to go up to a certain length on the leg, mainly for the deadlift. That is to protect the shins of the athletes. The exact length of those socks is listed in the sports rules guide. The lifting belt is optional. When it comes to substances, we will have chalk on the stage and in the warm-up area for our state competition. That, just as a reminder, that can only be baby powder, pool chalk, liquid chalk, resin. All of that will be permitted. What is not is gas, grease, any other lubricants will not be allowed. Those are the main rules that we'd like to cover that are sometimes forgotten about or misadhered to. There are many more listed out in the rules guide. So please reference that. Again, there's no new rules for returning coaches for the past few years there. That's just ones that we like to touch on as friendly reminders to everybody. So as we talked about resources, the event guide will be distributed close to the event. No need to really talk about that now, but that will be an all-inclusive document for all the different sports at Fall Fest, and powerlifting will have its own section there that will attain all the information of the day, everything from a schedule, our officials, management team, etc. So some websites to be aware of: the International Powerlifting Federation, also known as IPF. The link is to that page, one of our governing bodies there, along with the USPA, that link. And then the main one that I would reference, which also has those two links, if you want to go straight to the point, is our SNB Coaches Resource page for powerlifting. That link will take you to everything that pertains to resources for you, training guides. There was a virtual training guide that was created during the time of COVID a few years back when we were shut down. Derek had some great content. He also has a Facebook page that he created for at-home workouts, at-home diet, safety while lifting, a bunch of different videos that I will also include in the email tomorrow that you could push to your athletes. Derek has said that he wants to keep that going, maybe not the 1 or 2 week posts like he used to do. But Derek and his cat in his garage do a great job at putting on some videos for us as we help move through the season, both in the gym and at home. That website will also have the list of the qualifiers, and of course, the sanction forms, etc. So if you cannot find something, please come to me, but also check that page, as it will most likely have your answer. All right, at this time, we will open it up for questions. I don't know if Derek's on here or not. I will do the best I can to answer these questions, and any that I cannot, I, of course, will follow up and get you a precise answer if I cannot give you one for sure here.
Okay, Ryan, so two things. This is Mike. No, it does not look like Derek has joined us yet. Also, so I checked. I think the date for the pre-competition webinar was a carryover from last year. The correct date is Wednesday, October 11th. And that's at 6 o'clock. Okay, so we'll correct the slides before they go out. But it's definitely, sorry for that error there. But Wednesday, October the 11th at 6. Okay. Okay, I don't see any questions in the chat. Any of the coaches online have any questions? Okay.
All right, then at this time, we will give you back some minutes of your night. I do want to say thank you all for joining us tonight. Again, this will be sent out tomorrow. Look forward to getting the season started with you all here and preparing your athletes for a great season. So I wish you the best. Please let me know if you have any questions, and look forward to working with you as the season progresses. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Hey, Ryan, it's Jordan. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, I think I got left off the email chain again. I'm getting my emails from Lori. Could you just add me back on, please?
Yes, you got it, sir. Of course.
Thank you.